going anywhere in 2021. And to hear Packers GM Brian Gutejunst tell it, Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere for a while. That is consistent with everything that Green Bay has said publicly since they traded up in the first round a year ago to draft Jordan Love. But of course, that hasn't quieted speculation about Rodgers' future, including speculation from the reigning NFL MVP himself. Gutejunst did his best in his pre-draft presser on Monday to try to shoot all that down.
I'm not going to speak for Aaron, Rob. What I will say is that you're probably referring a little bit to the contract and some other things, but that's kind of something we're working through. I think it's something that we've talked about quite a bit. I'll just say this, first of all, I'm not going to get into contract specifics, but Aaron's our guy. He's going to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future. We're excited about, kind of the things we're going to try to accomplish here over the next couple of years.
Aaron Rodgers is under contract with Green Bay for another 3 years. My understanding has been that the Packers are open to new contracts for both Aaron Rodgers and wide receiver Davante Adams, but those still may be a little bit down the line, perhaps something that would get done at some point during the season. Gutejunst also shot down speculation that not restructuring Rodgers' contract was holding up free agent moves, which makes sense. If the Packers desperately needed the cap space, Rodgers' contract does have automatic conversion language that would have allowed them to free some up. Instead, Green Bay, typically inactive in free agency, clearly betting on the 2020 roster, as well as this week's NFL draft, to help them get over the hump in 2021. Okay?
Which I love. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers loves to hear this, but now those actions up there in Green Bay have to back that up, maybe in the form of a skill position somebody can throw the ball to in the first round, or I don't know what would happen with Jordan Love. We're going to talk about that right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Tom Pelissero. Talked to you throughout the week here on NFL Network. It's been a roller coaster offseason, not even at the draft yet. Kyle, how should Aaron Rodgers feel about what he heard yesterday? It was nice to hear.
Yeah.
To hear.
It's nice and it's surreal. The Packers are giving a vote of confidence to the NFL MVP moving forward. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys saw this. Jeannie Buss said they are committed to their small forward going forward, too. They really like his game. Here's the deal. They tried to take down the circus tent before it was over. He got 3 years left remaining on his contract. The Gutejunst and the Packers either thought that Rodgers wasn't going to be as good as he is or wasn't going to want to play as long as he does. It turns out they were both wrong. They were 0 for 2. They missed. Now they got to put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I agree with you, Kay. It's like, that's great. He's your guy. Like, action.
Show me.
Draft, contract, everything. And because it's not just Rodgers. Like, you draft A.J. Dillon, and then you bring back Aaron Jones. You draft Jordan Love, and now you're bringing back Rodgers forever. Here's my deal. Jordan Love, you spent a first-round pick on him. He's going to sit for 3 years? 4 years? It makes no sense. That's not how you build a football team. I still think to this day that they should trade Jordan Love, and I think they should do it as soon as possible. I think they missed. I think it was a mistake, and I do think there's a market for him. I would submit this to you. If you're going to spend the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th overall pick on Trey Lance, would you not trade a second-rounder for a guy who sat in a pro system for a year and is behind Aaron Rodgers and is sort of raw, but maybe less so than Trey Lance? I still think there's a market for him. I think they made a mistake to draft Jordan Love, and I think they should amend that mistake. Rodgers is our guy. We're getting rid of this guy. Now we're moving forward. Aaron, we were wrong. You won the MVP. We blew it. We should never have picked that guy. It's not too late.
Do they have to trade him to show that they're committed to him?
No, not to Rodgers, but, like, what's Love's career?
What's the point?
And why did they draft him? Like, Rodgers told us. We even asked him, Aaron, we're hearing all this stuff about Jeopardy. Would you ever quit football and host Jeopardy full-time? And he laughed and said, no, I want to play a lot more football. And he wants to play with the Packers. So I think he's going to be fine. Like, where does Love fit in? What does Love got to do with it?
Insurance. There we go.
I mean, come on.
That's what we do.
There you go, Tina Turner. I was waiting, Kyle. I was waiting. I was on the edge of my seat. Sometimes love hurts.
What do you think, Trey?
Nazareth. Rodgers controls this whole thing. Goody's up there talking. Like, you're not going to ever, while Rodgers wants to be a Packer, tell him it's time to go to Love. We drafted him 3 years ago, and he was 27th overall, and it's just we gotta, and that's what we're doing. Like, Rodgers is the MVP. This is different than Favre. I know Favre went to the NFC Championship game, but Favre was flirting with retirement the entire summer, and it got to the point where, like, we need to make a decision. We can't do this every offseason. Rodgers isn't doing that. So I almost, and I know it sounds like a crazy thing, I would almost love for Rodgers to look at this, watch it, and, like, maybe he can come out and kind of take the air out of this thing. I feel like it's so tense. There's so much pressure. It's so stressful every offseason, especially after the Love pick and all of last year's regular season of, like, is Rodgers happy? Is he going to be happy? They're 13-3. Is he happy? Is he happy? If Rodgers came out and was like, I love being a Green Bay Packer. and I am ready to go and conquer the world. And I love working for this team. I think it would do a lot of good. Now, I can never tell him to do that, and that might not be how he's wired. And I think I think there's some theories that maybe the Jordan Love pick did light a fire under Rodgers a little bit. But the truth matters, Goody could be replaced by any other face, and whatever it is, Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's ever going to be on equal footing. So with no owner in that building, Rodgers is the face of the franchise. He's the most important person. LaFleur and the GM they're not on the same
Quickly,
equal
Peter,
level.
I'm sorry. How do you reconcile the Jordan Love pick?
I can't.
What do you do with that, then?
I can't. And
what do
I
you
say,
do?
you know what? A lot of teams have drafted players like A.J. Jenkins and Jonathan Baldwin and countless other players in the 20s that don't develop and that aren't the best picks. And a year later, we say, okay, let's make fifth year option, maybe 5 years down the line, you make a decision. But you're right. It was a ridiculous pick. I didn't like it at the time. I don't think Packers fans like it, and I know Rodgers didn't like it. But can we move on? Because they did go 13-3 with Jordan Love on the roster.
Yeah. I'll take history repeats itself for 1,000.
Go on.
I'm not saying that his job is in jeopardy. I'm just saying the chance that Aaron Rodgers retires a Green Bay Packer, that is in jeopardy. You mentioned Brett Favre. He ended up playing somewhere else at the end of his career. More recently, we saw Tom Brady leave New England, which is something we never thought will happen. So the simple fact that they're saying he's our quarterback for the foreseeable future, I was just looking up here on my surface. Foreseeable future. For in the period of time when you can predict what is going to happen based on the present circumstances.
All right.
You know what I see in that? The fact that we didn't know that Tom Brady was going to get sick of what was going on in New England and eventually say, you know what? I'm going to end my career somewhere else. And I honestly feel like Aaron Rodgers is looking at the Green Bay Packers the exact same way. It might not happen this year.
3 years left on the contract.
It might not happen this year.
3 years left.
I always thought he would retire Green Bay Packer, but the way that things are the writing on the wall, feel like he's going to play somewhere else at the end of his career.
I think he knows that. He's very aware of his mortality, as he said over and over and over again. More Packers talk on the way. Let's welcome in Aditi Kinkhabwala. She has the lucky assignment of coming to us live this morning from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. Aditi, good morning to you. I've always wanted to trade lives with you, over and over again, year after year, and now I'm super jealous because you get to give us a tour of the biggest show on turf. Where are you? What is this exhibit?
Well, Kay, if we are talking about the biggest show on turf, if we're talking about epic halftime performances, then obviously every conversation has to start with Prince. Prince in 2007 in Miami, Super Bowl 41, in the pouring rain. Who can forget Purple Rain in the rain? Now, the story behind this actually starts a year earlier. Prince was asked if he would like to perform in 2006. He wasn't so sure, but knowing Prince, he was about as detailed as could be. He started studying previous Super Bowl performances, thought about how he could possibly do it better. And then, of course, that day in the rain, when the producer asked Prince, who always wore high heels, Kay, you and I know a thing or two about diminutive size and needing to look a bit bigger, he was asked, is this going to be okay? And Prince said, can you make it rain harder? This is the outfit that he wore that day. The shoes are by Andre #1. The heels, as I talked about, the shirt, Arturo Padilla. And Kay, I have to say, I don't know that either you or I would fit in this outfit.
Really?
That Prince maybe. I mean, it's looking pretty small. Let me tell you that.
Well, way to call me out on the COVID-15 that I gained this past year. Thanks a lot, Kay. That's incredible. I hope you're having so much fun. And wait, and people can go and see these exhibits. How does that work? It's just open, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People, any fan that's going down there for the draft festivities can check out what Prince wore, what Lady Gaga wore, Katy Perry, The Weeknd from last year.
Exactly. And this just opened last week. It is going to be open until September. But before I let you keep going back to football talk, let me show you one other thing that really is possibly maybe the coolest thing for me in the exhibit. As you all know, the halftime show is about 12 and a half minutes. It takes 4 minutes to set up. 1,000 people rush out onto the field at halftime as the players run off. This is the measuring tape that they use to set up where the stages go, where the lights go, all of that. And here's what's really cool about it. This piece of tape is used over and over and over again. You can see it's marked with the Who over there. There's Lady Gaga's markings. You go up, there's Tom Petty, Madonna, Justin Timberlake. All of those halftime shows use this exact same piece of measuring tape. The one line that always stays the same is where the NFL shield is. And that marking never changes at all. Another notable piece about the setup, we just were talking about Prince. During the Prince show setup, a cart actually rolled over a piece of electrical wiring. And during that entire show, a stagehand held 2 pieces of wire together in the pouring rain so that performance could go on. There's more and more just like that all through this exhibit. So you all need to come to Cleveland at some point and check this out.
I know you're so like genuinely enthusiastic about it. I wish I was